A young person's guide to being neurodivergent and LGBTQ+, by The Proud Trust, in partnership with the Greater Manchester Autism Consortium. Other versions of this guide are available at theproudtrust.org/neurodivergent and are available as PDF, plain text or audio versions. Some people are neurodivergent, some people are LGBTQ+, some people are both. Everyone is unique, whether you are LGBTQ+, or neurodivergent, both, or neither. The question to ask yourselves are the same. How am I going to live my best life? What would help me to be able to be my authentic self? You don't have to meet other people's expectations. This leaflet for young people explores what it means and what it's like to be neurodivergent and LGBTQ+. It contains a selection of information, experience, advice, and signposting to further support. Don't be afraid to get things wrong. Sometimes it takes us a long time to work out who we are, and that's fine. It's not a race. The important part is making sure that you have all the support you need to feel happy and able to thrive. Sometimes information takes a little while to sink in. Keep this video bookmarked and you can come back to it as many times as you like. What does that mean? LGBTQ+ is a short way to say lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and other identities. We use it to talk about gender identity and sexual orientation. Some people are girls/women. Some people are boys/men. Some people don't fit into either of those categories and might use the word non-binary. This is our gender identity. Trans. A person whose gender identity is different to the one they were given when they were born. This may include trans men and women, non-binary people, and other gender-variant identities. Cis. A person whose gender identity is the same as the one they were given when they were born. Romantic and sexual orientation is all about the kind of person you are attracted to, or who you fancy. Some words you might use are lesbian, a woman who is attracted to women. Gay, a man who is attracted to men, or just anybody attracted to people of the same gender. Bi, a person who is attracted to people of their own genders and other. Asexual/aromantic, a person who experiences little or no sexual/romantic attraction. Straight, a person who is attracted to people of a different gender to their own. Queer. Some people use the word queer as a broad umbrella term for anyone whose gender is in some way different to what they were assigned at birth, or who is attracted to people of the same gender and more than one gender. Plus, there's lots more words that people might use to describe their sexual orientation or their gender identity. The plus makes sure that everyone who feels like they belong under the LGBTQ+ umbrella is included. There are no rules about who you can or can't be. You might feel like one or many of these words apply to you, or you might not. You also don't have to use these definitions. You can use these words in a way that you think fits best. Great minds don't always think alike. We all need different kinds of brains and ways of thinking to make our world work well. Your way of processing is not bad, it's just different. Neurodiversity. Neurodivergence is a broad umbrella term meaning that your brain, neuro, is different from, divergent, what is considered the norm. It is often used to talk about the differences in how our brains work, for example, how we communicate, how we process information, and how we experience the world around us. This includes autism, ADHD, and learning differences such as dyslexia and dyscalculia. Some people with mental health conditions or brain differences, like schizophrenia or epilepsy, also identify as neurodivergent. A neurodivergent person is someone whose differences fall outside what is typical, meaning they may perceive or interact with the world differently to others. About 15 to 20% of the world's population is neurodivergent. Neurotypical is a word that somebody who is not neurodivergent might call themselves. Other words you might hear people use to describe themselves include on the spectrum or having ASD. Not sure what word someone prefers? Just remember the golden rule. Golden rule. Always use the words that people would use for themselves. Neurodivergent people might use some of these words. Autistic. Autism is a spectrum condition and affects people in different ways. Autistic people may experience differences in social communication, highly focused interests and sensory differences, or repetitive behaviours. Some autistic people experience anxiety and meltdowns or shutdowns. ADHD. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD, is a neurodevelopmental condition that can affect a person's behaviour. People with ADHD may have difficulty focusing, controlling impulses, and being overactive. Learning disability. A learning disability affects how a person learns new things throughout their life. It is different for everyone, but may include difficulty understanding complex information, learning some skills, and looking after yourself, or living alone. Dyslexic. Dyslexia can make reading, writing, and spelling difficult. Dyspraxic. Dyspraxia can make it harder for people to coordinate movement. It's also known as Developmental Coordination Disorder, DCD. Dyscalculic. Dyscalculia can impact a person's skills relating to maths, numbers, ordering, and time management. Neurodivergent people might experience hyperactivity. Hyper means a lot, so hyperactivity means being very active. It can be external, like fidgeting, interrupting, or talking a lot, or internal, like racing thoughts or jumping between ideas. Sometimes it's not easy to see from the outside. Meltdowns and shutdowns. Sensory or emotional overload can cause a meltdown, like shouting or strong gesture, or a shutdown when someone goes silent and can't communicate. This isn't a tantrum or ignoring others, it's just feeling so overwhelmed that talking isn't possible. Gifts and challenges. The different parts of our identities can impact us in many ways. Some can be challenging and some can be very positive. Being LGBTQ+, neurodivergent, or both is not a problem, but the world we live in can create difficulties. The challenges that come with being LGBTQ+ or neurodivergent aren't there because of who you are, but because we live in a world that doesn't make either of these things easy. Being both neurodivergent and LGBTQ+ means that the world can sometimes feel doubly challenging to navigate. If we all keep trying to change the way we do things for the better, we can make the world a better place to be neurodivergent and LGBTQ+. This is everybody's responsibility, not just yours. Here are some of the things that neurodivergent LGBTQ+ young people have told us. What are some of the challenges you face? I'm non-binary, and at school we would split into girls and boys, and I'd feel left out. Neurodiversity has historically been investigated through a cis, straight male lens. Neurodivergent LGBTQ+ people and neurodivergent women often have less support and recognition than neurodivergent cis, straight men. What advice would you give to other neurodivergent LGBTQ+ young people? Sometimes fitting in is overrated. It's okay to feel the way you do and take things at your pace. I want them to know there are more people like them and how their feeling is okay. What is the best thing about being a neurodivergent LGBTQ+ person? We have lots of interesting knowledge about interesting topics, and we often enjoy things neurotypical people wouldn't. Being yourself and enjoying who you are and your identity. The different viewpoint allows us to see the weird default assumptions of society. Being spicy and different. The stories I can tell are unique and interesting. The ability to be open-minded and empathetic. Being your utmost self. There is a wide community of neurospicy humans to connect with. I see things from a different perspective to others. Making our world more inclusive. There are so many things we can do to help the LGBTQ+ and neurodivergent people in our lives, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Here are our top tips. Top tips for being neurodivergent inclusive. Ask people how they like to communicate and assume the best. Don't assume they're being rude if they communicate differently to you. Find out if they have particular challenges. For example, many neurodivergent people find it hard when plans aren't clear or change at the last minute. Educate yourself about different neurodiversities, but understand that everyone is different and don't make assumptions. Be mindful of people's sensory needs and ask them what you can do to help them feel more comfortable. Top tips for being LGBTQ plus inclusive. Ask people their pronouns rather than assuming. Wear pride badges to show that you are a safe person to talk to. Use more gender-neutral language. Challenge homophobia, biphobia and transphobia whenever you see it, so long as you feel safe and comfortable to do so. How can I support the neurodivergent LGBTQ plus people in my life? Understand that it's possible to be neurodivergent and LGBTQ plus, and that these are separate parts of a person's identity. Be accepting and supportive. Don't be afraid to get things wrong and not know everything. If someone uses language that you haven't heard before, you can always ask them what it means. Share this booklet with your friends so that they can learn more about being LGBTQ plus and neurodivergent. People like us. Visibility of people like us can be really important. In mainstream society, our stories and lives are told, talked about and documented a lot less. Fortunately, there are more and more well-known neurodivergent LGBTQ plus people talking about their experiences. Hannah Gadsby, they, them. Hannah Gadsby is an Australian comedian known for their thoughtful and powerful stand-up. They are genderqueer and have said they don't feel comfortable being seen as either a man or a woman, using they, them pronouns. Hannah received an autism diagnosis later in life, which they talk about in their most recent comedy special, Douglas. Bradley Riches, he, him. Gay actor Bradley Riches, diagnosed with autism at 9, has spoken about the importance of autistic actors playing autistic characters, like his role James McEwan in Heartstopper. He shared that growing up in a world made for neurotypical people was tough, especially as he never saw a gay autistic character on screen. Lee Shunzen, they, them. Lee is an American autistic and disability rights activist. They are a writer, public speaker and attorney who founded the Fund for Community Reparation for Autistic People of Colour's Independence, Survival and Empowerment. Tylan Grant, he, him. Hollywood star Tylan Grant is a British trans actor playing the autistic character of Phoenix Hathaway in the series. Grant became the first actor of colour and first openly autistic actor to play an autistic character in a mainstream TV soap. He said, "I've come to a point where I'm really comfortable with who I am. I'm very proud to be black and autistic." Fern Brady, she, her. Another groundbreaking comedian, the Scottish stand-up comedian started her 4-year journey to get diagnosed with autism after a show in 2017. In her book, Strong Female Character, Brady shares her acceptance journey with autism and bisexuality. Lucy Bronze, she, her. Lucy Bronze is a women's Super League footballer who has played for teams such as Manchester City, Everton, Barcelona and Chelsea. Lucy has ADHD and is autistic. In a 2025 BBC interview, Lucy spoke about how her ADHD had helped her football career, stating, "Something that's really good for ADHD and autism is exercise. All the things I have because of autism have worked in my advantage." Renee Rapp, she, her. Renee Rapp is an actor, performer and musician. She's always been vocal about her experiences being a queer woman and a person with ADHD in the music industry. When asked about it, she'd said, "I didn't know I had ADHD as a kid. I just thought I was really dramatic. I am, but that's a separate thing. I didn't know or understand what it was, but now I do and I really love it. I think it helps me a lot. When I'm writing a song, 10 songs are coming out of the concept. My brain is in 10 different places. I actually really enjoy it. It's exhausting, don't get me wrong, but really fun." An interview from Official Charts 2023. Looking for more? Head to theproudtrust.org/peoplelike-me. Answering your questions. My teacher doesn't believe I'm trans because I'm autistic. She says this is because she read that autistic people are more likely to identify as trans. What do I tell her? I'm so sorry this has happened to you. Autism can influence the way you see and process the world, but it doesn't mean you don't understand your own identity. It's true that if someone is autistic, they are slightly more likely to identify as trans or non-binary. However, some people misunderstand this statistic. They think it means that autistic means you're more likely to get it wrong, because you have a harder time understanding the world around you and how you fit into it. But this is completely untrue. Nobody knows for sure why this link exists, but Dr. Wen Lawson, an autistic advocate, researcher and psychologist said, "The non-autistic world is governed by social and traditional expectations, but we may not notice these or fail to see them as important. This frees us up to connect more readily with our true gender. If what Dr. Lawson says is true, the reason for this statistic might be that if you are autistic, you are already used to questioning the rules of society, so it's not as big of a leap for you to question your gender. Do I need a diagnosis to be neurodivergent? Whether or not you have a diagnosis doesn't change who you are, but a diagnosis of a neurodivergent condition can be really useful to some people. It can help them understand themselves and the way their brain works. It can also help them find out what support they need and give them access to other things that could help, like medication. However, not everybody who is neurodivergent will choose to pursue a diagnosis. And even if they do, it might take a long time. This may be because it isn't something they feel they need, or it might be too difficult for them because of things they can't control, such as long waiting lists or an unsupportive family. If you think a diagnosis might be helpful for you, speak to your GP or one of the organisations listed at the end of the video. I'm non-binary, but my family don't understand. Is there an easier way to explain it to them? You aren't alone. It's quite common for people to not understand right away. One thing we use here at the Proud Trust is a tool we call the Gender Person. It shows visually the differences between the parts of your identity and breaks down what each part means. You can also suggest that they come to us for help understanding. Proud Connections live chat is a free and confidential service, and we're happy to talk to them. For more details on what these terms mean, go to www.theproudtrust.org/genderperson. I've heard people talk about masking. What is it? And is it a good thing or a bad thing? If you're neurodivergent, you might find yourself hiding or covering up some of your neurodivergent traits so that you can fit in. You might copy or mirror things that neurotypical people do around you and how they behave. You might not even realise that you're doing this. However, masking can be bad for your well-being and can make it harder for you to express your true self. The more we increase understanding and acceptance of neurodivergence, the less people might feel the need to mask. So it's important that we all help to create an inclusive and safe environment where everyone feels comfortable being themselves. Do I have to come out? Telling people about who we are, whether that's in relation to our gender, sexual orientation, or whether or not we're neurodivergent, can be hard or scary. You don't have to tell anybody until you feel ready to do so. It's also okay to talk about things to people who you trust first. If you think you might need support in coming out, there is some more information at the end of this video of places that can support you. Coming out is not something that people do only once. People continue to come out through their lives as they make new friends, start new jobs, get new neighbours, etc. It doesn't always get easier with practice, but you become more prepared in what to say and how you want to answer questions from others. Is being LGBTQ+ linked to being neurodivergent? Some people feel like there's a lot of overlap between the experience of being LGBTQ+ and their experience of being neurodivergent. For other people, they feel very separate. LGBTQ+ people and neurodivergent people have unique experiences. Some people who are both neurodivergent and LGBTQ+ will have experiences that neurotypical LGBTQ+ people and straight or cis neurodivergent people won't have. This is called intersectionality. Sometimes it's useful to discuss one particular part of our identity, but we should remember that our identities have many overlapping parts, and they all impact each other. Do I have to pick between being LGBTQ+ or being neurodivergent? No. Some people are LGBTQ+, some people are neurodivergent, and some people are both. We have all kinds of different parts to our identities. Some of them might be really important to us, and some of them might not be important to us at all, but they all make up a part of who we are. Where to go next? Get support. LGBTQ+ youth groups. The Proud Trust's LGBTQ+ youth groups are supportive spaces for LGBTQ+ young people to make friends, explore a wide range of activities, and be proud of who they are. Proud Connections live chat. Proud Connections live chat from the Proud Trust is a safe and supportive place for LGBTQ+ young people aged 13+ and adults who support them to chat with trained, non-judgmental staff. National Autistic Society. The National Autistic Society offers support and advice through its local branches, as well as an online community to connect with other autistic people on its website. Online resources. theproudtrust.org. autismunderstood.co.uk. autism.org.uk. autismgm.org.uk. This project was funded by the Zakonis Charitable Trust.